While many European bishops are actually endorsing same-sex blessings, India's bishops are blasting homosexual activists for triggering sexual anarchy in society. Join us with the latest from the Eternal City, Church Militant's Rome correspondent, Dr. Jules Gomes. Jules, kind of a blistering story here. We have at odds Europe and India. Earlier this week, we reported on the bishops in Ghana backing the criminalization of LGBT propaganda. All this on the back work of Germany and others that are really pushing, same-sex blessings. Now Indian bishops are actually attacking the whole gay agenda. Tell us about it.
Brad, these are Indian bishops from the South Indian state of Kerala. This is, of course, the state to which St. Thomas the Apostle went in AD 52 and preached the gospel there, set up an ancient apostolic church. This is also the state in India where all three rites, Catholic rites, the Latin rite, the Syro-Malabar rite, and the Syro-Malankara rite come together. And the bishops who are speaking out against the LGBT propaganda are from this state. They are from the Kerala Catholic Bishops' Council, and they just finished their meeting over a week ago. And they issued a very, scathing statement against a Malayalam movie. Malayalam is the language of Kerala, and they basically blasted this movie for not only pushing LGBT propaganda, but also using the Catholic Church to do this, rather, unpleasant deed.
Well, what specifically do the bishops find that is particularly offensive about the movie, apart from its homosexual propaganda?
Well, full credit to the president of the Bishops' Council, Cardinal Basilios Klimis Totunkal, who comes from the Syro-Malankara rite. And he's attacked this movie, Katal or Kor, saying that the movie seems to say, or the movie actually clearly says that, we are born gay. So that because being homosexual is something natural, therefore homosexual people should be given full rights. They also say that sex has been overemphasized here when it doesn't really need to be part of the plot. Bishops say that, go through the plot of the story, which is in a rural setting. This is a Christian family. A husband, Matthew, is married to a wife, Omana, and he turns out to be homosexual. But Omana, who is a devout Christian, a Catholic, has no problem, quote unquote, with his being homosexual. And she's such an understanding wife that she lets him do his gay thing. There is also a parish priest. The family is very close to the parish priest, very supportive. But then there is a progressive priest who disdains the teachings of the church and basically supports the whole gay agenda. And then there is the daughter who doesn't endorse what the Catholic Church teaches, but instead she supports her father's homosexuality. So the bishops are deeply troubled by this kind of blatant propaganda that goes clearly against the church and does it so intentionally.
Sounds like there might have been some producers from Germany on making that film. What exactly are the bishops saying in their statement, Jules?
Well, the bishops are saying that that basically homosexualization leads to, they're calling the producer sexual anarchist, and they're saying that homosexualization leads to chaos, ultimately chaos in society. They're also pointing out the very left-wing bias of this movie. Now, interestingly, Kerala is a communist state. The people in the state, even though they've been predominantly Catholic, have kept voting for communist governments, and seminarians and priests are basically communism is almost part of their DNA, but nevertheless they are calling out this left-wing agenda here, naming it, and they're saying that the student movement in various universities and colleges in Kerala, and many run by the church, have already been infiltrated by gay propaganda, and this movie is simply going to support what they are doing.
So I do know some bishops from the Kerala area, and it really is, they're very good bishops. It doesn't surprise me that they would be the ones that would be able to stand up against something like this. Jules, there's a recent legal and political background to all this debate, right?
Absolutely, Brad. In October 2023, just a couple of months ago, there was a fierce legal battle in India's Supreme Court. A five-judge bench heard a very, strong arguments on both sides for the legalization of same-sex marriage in India. They wanted to amend, gay activists wanted to amend the Special Marriage Act and change man and woman to just spouse. And after hearing these arguments, I was following this very closely. And at one point, I thought the homosexual activists are going to win the battle and India is going to have homosexual marriage. There was, of course, fierce opposition from the government, which is now a Hindu fundamentalist government. They said that homosexuality goes against, the fabric of Indian and Hindu culture, and they were, vehemently opposed to the Supreme Court passing this. Indeed, the Supreme Court, almost tilting to the side of the homosexual activist, finally decided not to go ahead with same-sex marriage, and they said no, to the homosexual activists. So India currently does not have same-sex marriage.
So you mentioned the Hindu fundamentalists, they're just coming at it from a natural law point of view, and they can see clearly how it's against the fabric of the nation. But then let's move into Revelation. How did the Catholic bishops respond to this legislation?
Now, there is a certain amount of diversity, if I can use that term, among the Indian Catholic bishops on the issue of homosexuality. It's not, they're not conservative across the board. But when it came to the Supreme Court decision, Bishop Peter Paul Saldana, who is the Bishop of Mangalore, and he heads the doctrinal section of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of India, he said that, he would stand with the Supreme Court and he would choose to preserve marriage between one man and one woman, because that was the teaching of the Catholic Church. However, Cardinal Oswald Gracias, who is the Archbishop of Bombay and on Pope Francis's G9, a very close advisor of the Pope, he's been soft on the gay issue for a very long time. He's helped them start a couple of organizations and, publicly welcomed them. And in 2018, when India decriminalized sodomy, he was very much in favor of that.
So finally, are the Indian bishops there in Kerala, are they getting any support from their Catholic counterparts?
Not really, because as we know, the Catholic world in its episcopacy is hugely divided on this issue. We have the German bishop, also the Belgian bishops, pushing for same-sex blessing liturgies. There is, interestingly, a statement put out by New Ways Ministry, which is this heterodox pro-LGBT group. Father James Martin, the Jesuit homosexualist, is very closely connected to this group. And their associate director, Robert Shine, came out with a statement basically saying that even Pope Francis believes that LGBT couples peoples deserve legal protection. And he chided the Indian bishops for what he called, continuing to uphold negative LGBT cultural attitudes. So the whole left-wing thing is very interesting here, because on the LGBT issue, they are quite willing to go to war with cultures they see as backward, particularly cultures from Africa and Asia. These poor, benighted people still labor under the white man's burden, and they need to come into the great light of the sexual revolution. So he's kind of chided the Indian bishops, but the Indian bishops are holding firm to their stand.
Well, hats off to India's bishops for speaking out against the LGBT agenda being pushed by this movie, the movie industry. I really hope some of our U.S. bishops would also take notice of this and follow suit. The future of the family depends on it. Jules, thank you so much for bringing us some good news here about what bishops around the globe are doing to preserve Christian morals and safeguard family values. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Brad.
Thanks again for watching today's episode of Rome Dispatch. This show is brought to you by donors like Real Estate for Life. If you're looking to buy or sell a home and want to support our mission, visit realestateforlife.org. Again, that's realestateforlife.org. Be sure to tell them Church Militant sent you. God bless.